Hi Scorpio, this is your Mid June 2019 reading. Scorpio, as we spoke about it in the new moon video as well as in the Angarka Yoga video, which covered the first half of this month for your sign, we are in a period of going deeper into our financial abundance. We are going deeper into figuring out what are the talents, what are the processes, what is the way to achieve more depth when it comes to our commercial talents, and at the same time, we are trying to create a blueprint of our financial success. This is an excellent time to find a different way, a turning point, a different idea that might come across to us to create more value out of our talents. But Scorpio, considering the way our sign is, we are not meant to create abundance by purely focusing on material abundance. We are meant to create abundance out of an abundant aim. Our big financial plans need to have higher ideals for us to be satisfied, for us to be happy, for us to be who we truly want to be. Our natural blueprint requires us to not make money an object in itself. We have to find higher meaning. Meaning of life cannot be money for Scorpios to be satisfied. We have to get a big ideal, and it has to be beyond material reality. It has to be beyond the money that comes. Easier access is available to us to abundance that nobody else can imagine, because our abundance lies in our talents. We are the material abundance that God has gifted us, or the higher powers have gifted us. We are the product. We are the product that gets created when Jupiter is in our house of material abundance. We become the commodity which is valuable. We become full of talents and imbued with talents which will help us in longer period of time when Jupiter comes in a house of material resources. And this month, with Jupiter meeting Neptune, we see a turning point. We see a different view. We find a different approach to material abundance. We find a way to merge this creative high that Neptune is giving us. And how do we create material worth out of it? How do we create something quantitative out of it? This passion that you feel inside your heart, which is ready to uplift anybody and everybody who comes in contact with you. How do you create that into something that is long lasting, that survives beyond you? Do we have the talents required to generate something like that? That is one of the questions that Jupiter and Neptune meeting each other in a hard aspect this month is going to ask us. Are we getting the requisite returns from the risk we have taken in our life? These could be financial risk that we have taken. It could be speculative trades we have done. It could be a creative venture that we have started. It could be a risk we have taken in our personal life. Are we getting the returns, the requisite fulfillment from that speculation, the financial returns from that speculation? Are we attracting the right kind of romance? Because we have the highest ideal of romance when Neptune is in this house. So much so that we can create an external reality of that by creating a fantasy romance or creating a fantasy novel, or by creating this external grand way of presenting this feeling that we have strongly inside us. Neptune in the fifth house is known for certain actors and actresses who almost become the character they go into. Because fantasy becomes reality when Neptune is in our fifth house. And this is very much true, especially in our love life. Are we engaged in the right kind of romance that is enhancing our self-worth? Because the aim of Jupiter in our second house, which it comes only once in decade, is to create the self-worth, the network, the highest ideals and values that will serve us in longer term. So are we on the right path or not? And what is the blueprint you want to follow going forward? We see a forward path from here, and that is the influence that is also coming with the eclipses in July. On 2nd of July, when we have an eclipse, a new start in our leap of faith. We are taking a leap of faith. We are setting off on a new adventure. That adventure has the underlying blueprint of a path that we are supposed to follow, that is of abundance, that is of values, that is full of highest morals. And that is the theme of the full moon that is happening on 17th of June as well. What comes to light is what are the ideals, what are the values, what is the financial blueprint you want to follow to be more fulfilled going forward. What does it all mean to you? What does earning finances mean to you? What does having certain material possessions mean to you? What is the meaning of life beyond the material resources that you want to work towards? Investing in certain foreign places, investing in something that gives you higher knowledge, that gives you more enhanced uh, link to higher powers in some ways. This is where we find meaning. This is where we find meaning, which is higher meaning of our life, and we start walking it. And this month, all the way till 2nd of July, when we have the eclipse, becomes the time when we start working towards defining this path, this higher path, which leads us to both values as well as material abundance. The linkage to material abundance is that we first put the values, we first put the higher ideals, and then the material value just follows that naturally, because it is in our chart. It is a natural way of being. Abundance is supposed to flow to the place where there is ease, where there is ease of thinking, where there is ease of positivity, where there is ease of doing this for someone beyond you, for doing it for a larger set of people, people who would benefit from you being you. So the square will prompt us to act, to correct something within us, and it will ask us to derive value in a different way. The external imperus comes through either maybe somebody challenging our power, maybe somebody challenging who we are, maybe somebody trying to drag us into a lower frequency where we do not want to go. And there are dates this month, which I earlier warned about in the Angarka Yoga video as well, where we might be pulled down in our ideals, and we need to be careful about not taking the low road, because the temptation to do that will be high on 13th of June, on 19th of June, and on 21st of June. Jupiter causes us to be less aware of what our values are, because we are recreating our values. Be on guard of your mind on these dates. You do not want your frequency to be lowered because somebody in your surrounding is not acting to the requisite quality. Saturn in our house of mind wants to improve the quality of our mind. It wants us to learn to organize our thoughts and our activities in such a way that we can be both commercially fulfilled as well as we can clear our mind of the negativity, of those repetitive thoughts that bog us down and take our time away from us. They are creating a clean space for us to work in. And you will find yourself functioning better in clean spaces, literally clearing out the desk, making sure that you're writing things down. When you feel confused, reading, writing, creating a list, you will find this mode of communication, a change, a shift, an increase in writing, reading. It will give you more structure. The inspiration is there. With Neptune in the 5th house, we are on the highest of the inspiration. But Saturn is where the structure is, and the structure isn't putting things down to paper, fixing time every day to write, fixing time every day to make this highest inspiration into something reality, creating a blueprint, a written blueprint of how you want to go from step A to step B to step C is very much required and being asked for. This passion that you feel, it has to get somewhere. Now, all the way till September, this Neptune-Jupiter combination, which happens once in 13 years, is supposed to give birth to the highest creativity that you've felt so far. In order for it to do that, there are certain boundaries, certain structures to your mind that you'll have to create to get there. We start that process now, in this month. Jupiter and Neptune have been together since January. This is a 9-month birthing process of your abundance that is driven on highest ideals, on creativity, on things that inspire you, that make you want to do something different from what you have done before, that make you go for a life purpose. This is not ordinary path. This is not just a job or just an additional source of income. This is bigger than that. And the full moon of 17th of June will make you feel like going after something as if it's your mission in life. Because the full moon of 17th of June is a flag bearer full moon. It's a revolt. It's sort of you battling for your own adventure. You feeling restless to some extent because you know where you want to go and you want to get there fast. You want to get there in the most idealistic way. You'll stand up to any kind of intimidation that you feel. You're looking forward to a future where you hold yourself and others to a higher standards, and you right now have the courage of conviction to stand up to the truth that is resonating inside your heart, and you have to listen to it. When Neptune is so strong, it is so nebulous. It's a planet of gas. It's a planet of dissolving things. It's a planet that dissolves everything that it sees. But what happens when it dissolves everything? There's confusion. As you can see in the media, when Neptune is so strong, which it will be in June, all the way till middle of July, news is full of lies, misinformation. People are full of misinformation. Who do I trust then? Neptune asks us to switch off the lights we have outside, and it ignites a fire within ourselves where our intuition, our natural thinking, our instincts, our perceptions are heightened, and we become the best judge of where we want to go. So this blueprint is created by you on the basis of what you think is right, not what a financial proposition is being given to you by somebody else. And this will continue all the way till 3rd or 4th of July when we have the eclipse and a yod is formed. Yod is a finger of God activation. The finger of God wants us to point to one direction. And the direction is what is the path you want to follow, which leads you to the kind of material and spiritual abundance that you're looking for. And you might have got a hint around 7th or 8th of June this month when that yod was formed, but in a very weak aspect. The strong one will be formed around 3rd or 4th of July. So 7th or 8th of June, you might have put a few things on the paper. This is how I want to go about. You know where you're going to some extent because your adventure has been in making. It could be in form of publication. It could be in form of you taking a job that expands your mind beyond what you have done before. It could be you relocating to a new country. It could be an opportunity to do foreign trade with people who are different from you. It could be an investment in a foreign country. It could be an education, which is different from what you have done before. It could be a higher knowledge that you're gaining by investing in a guru or a course, or you collecting artifacts which are foreign. This is you going beyond your comfort zone and taking a leap of faith. So this has been in making since North Node moved into this house. North Node is the direction of our karmic path, and our karmic path from now all the way till 2020 is to take a leap of faith, and the eclipse brings us closer to that karmic path. So in July we're coming closer and closer to that karmic path. Now in order to walk that, we as a sign need to know where we're going and how we're going to get that, and that is exactly the blueprint that you start working on this month. Neptune precautions to be taken. Our external feelings can be expressed in a very grand way. To put it simply, we can overreact emotionally, which you want to be careful of, especially when your ego is challenged on 13th of June or 19th of June, 20th of June or 27th of June. The second thing to be careful about, no gambling of money basis a financial proposition given by somebody else. You want to follow your internal path, your internal light versus what's being shown outside to you. Now, this is especially true because Neptune is very strong this month around 18-19 degree. So you want to be careful, especially if you have planets around 18-19 degree of Scorpio, which if you are a Scorpio sun is around 11th to 12th of November. This is the point where the inspiration is the highest, but misinformation can be highest as well. And Neptune will be taking a turn in a different direction as perceived from Earth on 21st of June. When it's taking a turn, it comes closest. It makes an impact on us. Psychologically, it makes an impact on us. At the same time, we have a turning in our mind. We see a different perspective. We see a different way of thinking about things. We get new inspiration to figure out what kind of risk I could take in my life to take that path I've been dreaming about. What do I need to do? What kind of courses I need to do? Because the solution here is in the problem. Upgrading our talents. Investing more in our talents, in ourselves, going and meeting people who are different from us, who can help us, traveling, educating ourselves. That is the solution to more abundance and more knowledge and more creativity that can be put in solid format. So when it is turning on 21st of June, about a week before that you start feeling it, you are being recreated and shown a different way to think about the risk you are taking in your life. And as you do that, you want to take only your feelings, your internal light into consideration, how you feel, what brings you joy, what is your passion. It becomes a time when the external influences need to be paused to some extent, and you might have to physically do it. I have a checklist for myself for this month, which I like to share with you, which are my personal precautions, and I hope it helps you. Number 1, remember your boundaries. What is happening in another country, what is happening in another person's life, what is happening in another thing is not happening personally in your life, because when Neptune is strong, we become empaths. I had to stop readings because of that, because we become unconditionally in love with the person we are trying to help. And that could be a child. That could be a person, which is excellent. It is what makes Scorpio Scorpio, right? We are very passionate about who we are trying to uplift, help, or get out of trouble from. But when Neptune is strong, we can get too much into their world. And you want to be a little bit careful. Becoming that person who can help others also requires you to fill your own cup. So use your emotions for productive actions. They can flood you to some extent. Check your source of information. Number 2. Do not trust financial information that is coming from another person, or even romantic information coming from another person. You meet a new person, especially this month, you want to be really careful about it. We are in a season where everything is over the top. Jupiter and Neptune is dissolving old ideologies and creating new one. When that happens, everybody is on a horse with their own flags. They think their ideology, their thinking, their thought process is the best, and that is what we should pursue as a world, as a country, as a nation, as an individual. So there will be people trying to sell you what they think is the right way for you to take in your life as well, whether it is your political view or it is your financial view or your personal view. You want to stay guard to your mind when that happens. Check your source of information and trust the people who are there in your life for a longer period of time, who have given you the right information, or more importantly, trust your own instinct, which is your perception is heightened. It's a gift that we have been given, which can be converted into very creative ways like music, painting, writing, performing, being in a psychological field. Neptune and 5th, the people who have it from birth, and who are Scorpio, Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was one of those people. He is a he could see beyond everybody else because of his own perception. I mean, and there are actors and actresses who have had Neptune in 5th, because they become the character they are in. They can perform an art to its highest perfection. Julia Roberts, Angelina Jolie. These are the people who can become the characters they are in. MLK also, Martin Luther King Jr., also had Neptune in his fifth. His passion was to uplift people. He took a risk on his ideology. But as I said, it has to be your ideology, not another's. Third thing, know that the sensitivity this month is high and the explosion of emotions is very much possible. Respect the other person's ambition, but at the same time, give yourself the respect. Respect your ambition too, and create the right, healthy boundaries of not giving up your ambition because it clashes with another person. You are on a path to grow beyond your comfort zone. In order to do that, you'll have to be in difficult situations which will come up, and they might have already come up. I spoke about it in the Angarka Yoga, which I warned about earlier in the in last month itself, because it's a very, very potent aspect, and we are in the middle of it right now, which is Mars, Mercury, and North Node coming together in opposition to Saturn. This is us being revved up to revolt against the structures that don't serve us well. And this could be against the boundaries in the immediate environment that we are working on. It could be our co-workers, it could be people in our surroundings, and it's a precursor to the new start and the eclipses that are coming in July. So you know that the sensitivity is high, explosive emotions are there. I spoke about it in that video as well, that when Mars and North Node come together, we are hit by solar flares, which makes people nervous, which makes people excessive, hyper in terms of their emotions. There is a large dose of radiation that comes with it, which increases anxiety, which causes people to be a little bit bipolar in nature. And it has already happened because it started on 12. Yesterday was the news that solar flares happened. There's a large dose of phenomena that happens when these two come together, which we need to be careful about. And there's a major disturbance to Earth's magnetic sphere that affects us personally at an individual level, and it affects the environment, it affects the weather, it affects the technical instruments, which is phones, satellite systems, and the power lines, which we'll see as the month goes by and this progresses further. We are just getting started with it. The revolts happen, the rebellion happens. We are seeing that in Hong Kong. We saw that in Chile. We'll see that in US and Europe as well. These are sections of the society which want to revolt against the structures that are not serving us well. Now, while that happens, you want to be careful that this sensitivity is high, and that will reflect in the talk with the people. But we are gifted that this isn't positive energy with us, because we are a water sign. So we know how to make the emotions work for us. We know how to roll up these emotions in a positive fashion and talk to a person in the right way. So we are at an advantage about it. The fourth thing is, when Neptune is in the fifth and it's strong, if you have a child or if you have a dependent, they can become more dependent on you. That is just the nature, because our softer side is being enhanced by giving somebody love unconditionally. We gain spiritual growth through unconditional love. So if there is a person in your life, it could be a child who could be, I'm sorry to say, but the immunity could be reduced during this time. It has happened to me personally. I know a lot of Scorpios that this has happened to. This is a natural progression of us bonding with that person at a different level. So just giving them love, being with them in unconditional fashion, and boosting their emotional strength can help you, but at the same time, stay guard to your strength here. You are the strong person here. Use your intuition, use your own strength, and create healthy self-care boundaries when you're doing that. Fifth thing, use your intuition, not provocation. High road always. When we have North Node in our ninth house, the road to success is to always stay on the high road while the provocation exists. And as I said earlier, there will be moments of provocations that will come, but what comes out of this not so easy aspect is diamond. The diamond is in form of creative high. It is in form of us creating a blueprint of our financial success as well as giving outlet to our creativity. And you must give an outlet to your creativity this month as well as this year, because when Neptune is in our fifth house, that is the productive way of handling that transit. Even if you are in a day-to-day job and you do not give up your day-to-day job, to go ahead and take a leap of faith in form of taking up dancing or taking up a creative project or starting a creative business, you have to find an outlet to this high creative energy in some form. You have to find an outlet in form of writing, fine art, music. It could be creativity of any sort. It could be creativity in the job that you're doing, and to some extent using your passions to help people. When Neptune is about helping people, so your passion, your love is supposed to help somebody, helping certain needy children, helping people who need your passion, who need this extra emotion and love that has been gifted to you, that your heart has been infused and expanded with. Gifting that to people in form of helping them will uplift your own worth, your own value, your own emotional strength. So that is, in my view, what's happening overall. I'll give you some dates on what's happening on which date so we can put it all in our structure. I'm sorry we went a little bit out of the structure because I wanted to get this thing which has been going back and forth in my mind out to you in a format that is hopefully legible. So let's talk about certain dates. 12th to 16th of June, as I spoke about it, that Saturn is opposing Mercury and Mars. So our actions, we might feel we are being held back because of certain restrictions in our surroundings. We are already working on this leap of faith that we want to plan to do, that we plan to take in July with the eclipses, which could be in form of us publishing something, us taking up a job that expands our mindset. It could be in form of us traveling more and gaining more knowledge. All of those things that are exciting to us, that add to our high knowledge, we might feel pulled back through a day-to-day mundane restriction, and we revolt against that. But at the same time, it can give us the discipline to write the fine print, discipline to figure out how do we get out of that situation, how do we find a good way, a healthier way to self-assert ourselves. So certain karmic discussions and actions happen during this time. In fact, on 14th and 15th of this month, we have a beautiful grand water trine that directly impacts our sign, which can come up with a solution to it all. And you should be on a lookout for that, especially if you have planets around 18-19 degree of Scorpio, which is around 11th to 14th of November. That is an emotional reset for us. 14th, 15th is like a breakout point. We suddenly click, something clicks, and we get what is our karmic direction. How do we go about it? It could be through a discussion with a mentor. It could be through an interaction with a person who's experienced in that field. It could be through you reading something. It could be through you traveling. It could be through interaction with a person who's different from you, and you just click. You just know. This is an easy flow of energy where we understand where we are going and we get the courage and the conviction to go for a different direction. So 14th and 15th, I'll be on lookout for that. I'll be careful on 13th for the power struggle, and that is especially true if you have planets around 20 to 23 degree of Scorpio, which is around 15th or 16th of November born, which is also true on 19th, 20th, and 27th of June. These are the dates people who have planets around 22, 23 degree of Scorpio, or if you're born around 15th or 16th of November, want to be careful on. That brings me to the full moon that is happening on 17th of June in the sign of Sagittarius. This is happening at 26 degree of Sagittarius, and it's very, very enlightening, very expansive, very adventurous. The focus is on our abundance, on our self-worth, on our net worth, and the talents that generate worth for us. Our value system is the way we are making money right now in line with our higher ideals, or it requires certain amount of adjustment. In the season of Gemini, where we are right now, soul searching in an objective fashion is the way to rebirth for us. So thinking through whether we are fulfilled right now or not, whether the balance in our relationships is tilted in the right way to give us the worth of our investment when it comes to our partnerships, that comes into question. It's the time for us to take a more adventurous, more confident, more soulful route. So, is our path right now in line with that? As I mentioned earlier, the meaning of our life cannot be material and money alone. For more money, for more abundance, our higher ideals are required. Getting a big ideal is the source to material abundance for us Scorpios. So, a dose of self worth to take a difficult path comes from this full moon. This full moon is all about making you comfortable in the path you're about to follow when the eclipses come. It gives you a dose of adventure. It gives a dose of truth. It gives you a higher ideal. 26 degree of Sagittarius in Samian astrology is shown as a flag bearer in a battle. You're a person with higher ideal. You're standing up to any kind of intimidation that comes in your way. You're marching forward on one path towards your future. You decide what is your path, and it is based on you having higher ideals, morals, and you will hold yourself and others to higher standards. You have the courage of conviction of your own intentions here. You know you want to stand up for the truth that you feel inside your heart, and you will go against any opponent of any magnitude that comes in the path. This is also a time when some reality, some knowledge is exposed. When Jupiter and Neptune come together, one of the other effects, apart from the creativity that it creates and the ideological shift that it creates, it challenges our previous faith. It challenges the path that we thought we are supposed to be on. And full moons are emotional times, but especially this full moon is a high. It is a high because sometimes, as I mentioned in Pisces video as well, who's your fellow water sign, sometimes we need to walk in the clouds. Sometimes we need to walk in the fog. We need to walk in the fog so we don't realize that we're taking certain risks, because you would normally not take those risks. But right now, the fog is thick and we do not truly know the magnitude of risk we are taking, because we are meant to do bigger things in our life. And when we are meant to do bigger things in our life, sometimes the confusion helps. Sometimes the dissonance helps. And this full moon is full of over the top energy. And the over the top energy continues to the eclipse of 2nd or 3rd of July as well. The reason is we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard to get to a higher place. So this full moon is telling us to evaluate our wealth in a different scale, in a different magnitude. Look at our material reality. Do we really need to expense this? Do we really need to It's not about reducing your abundance. In fact, as I mentioned, the more higher value you follow, the higher value system, the higher path you follow, that the wealth follows. But in this full moon, the focus comes, are you fulfilled with what you're doing? Is it giving you the kind of worth? And at the same time, your talents come into focus. Do I need to enhance my talents to make myself more financially viable, more viable in terms of my happiness with what I'm doing? Investing in foreign places could be a theme. Investing in foreign currencies could be a theme. Education, higher knowledge could be a theme. Foreign religion, to get different kind of value system could be a theme. Collecting foreign artifacts could be a theme. We might be traveling for money. We might be traveling to get a wider vision for our life. And that is the theme of this full moon, which takes you to this path towards the eclipse that is coming with 2nd of July. And we start working on this from very next day. From 18th of June all the way till 21st of June, we have Mars and Mercury fighting for this new path. We are on a fighting path here because we go in opposition to any kind of holdback that is there to our abundance and to our adventure. Anybody and anyone who's coming in your path, you will revolt against them at this point in time. You want to be very careful because, as I said, this is over the top energy. You do not want to burn your bridges. The positive manifestation of this aspect between 18 to 21st June is we can get a lot done. We have our energy amped up because Mars is our ruler. It's on steroids right now. It is getting the focus, the vision. It is getting the intent and the intensity, and the desire is up, curiosity is up, drive is up, motivation is up, physical endurance is up. So you can get a lot done. You can sell something. You can sell something like nobody's business. When Neptune is in the fifth house, we can sense what the other person wants and sell them in the right way. This can work to your advantage, but at the same time, you want to be careful about what's being sold to you. So that's the whole thing you want to be careful about this month. But people who work, who are working in sales, they can really focus on a subject. Similarly, on a creative subject, you can focus on a thing and go into deeper investigation of a subject and get through to it. You can get through a blueprint when it comes to what you want to do. So the faith, the leap that you're planning to do, or a leap of faith or a new adventure that you're planning to go into, it becomes an excellent time to get into the details of that when figuring out how am I going to do that. And it's a positive aspect with you. So you can get further done, more done than you have ever done before. You can convince somebody who's very powerful in your social circle to be on your side on these dates. But the negative manifestation of it that we want to stay away from the lower manifestation, is higher risk of combative arguments which are driven by belief system. You strongly believe on something, you strongly believe on a religion, on a path, on a belief system, and that goes in opposition with somebody in your immediate surrounding who's not mentally there. And we can get into a loop in terms of obsessive negative thoughts here, which we want to be careful about. There might be certain new information coming our way in the flexible season that we are in. When additional information is given to us, we are supposed to enrich our knowledge and our thought process. So be on lookout for that. Manipulative influences, your surroundings, somebody in your surrounding might try to manipulate your thinking and try to draw you back because they see you are on a higher plane. They try to draw you into a lower one. Being careful about that. Anger. There might be anger in the surrounding. There are people who will be rebelling against the structure, against authority, against abuse. They will think they are revolting against that when they're dealing in the day-to-day work even. So you want to be careful about that. The person might be coming from somewhere way beyond you when they're talking to you. People who work with you on a daily basis, the relationship with them, the way to communicate with them might need to change. The daily contacts itself might need to be changed. The daily environment might need a new engagement structure, which you want to be careful about. The paperwork, agreements, decisions, taxes, insurance, wills, they can become the focus of productive outcome and you getting through a lot of work, which is what we should use these dates on. On 20th and 21st is when the rebellious energy will be at its peak, in my view, when we want to be careful. Now, the people who can use this to their best interest is all around 19 to 21, even to 24 degree of Scorpio, which I want you to use this for. So 19 degrees around 12th of November. All the way till 24 degree, which is around 17th of November. So people from 12th of November all the way to 17th of November can get a huge amount of thing done. This is you getting out of your comfort zone and deciding to do something that is larger than you, that is bigger than you. Then on 21st of June is when Sun moves into Cancer, and we will have 3 planets then sitting in our house of adventure. We'll be very risk-taking. We'll be ready to go for our path. And physically, you'll feel amped up to do it after 21st of June, which is excellent. From 21st to 26th of June, we have 3 planets who will be sitting in that house. It becomes a very productive time to do things. But what happens after 20th of June is that the discussions which will be happening after 20th of June with respect to this adventure, they are subjected to change. They will go through some amount of back and forth, because Mercury will be going retrograde in July, which means that the negotiations, the discussions will require revision during July, which is fine. It is our plans. It's in positive aspect with us. So we're sort of being given a chance to look at the tools that help us grow in our career in an extended fashion. It becomes a 9-week activity of putting this blueprint of our adventure down. So just be aware that after 20th of June, the discussions that are happening, the negotiations that are happening, the documentation that are happening, they might be subjected to changes as we move forward. So stay flexible on that. Our emotional responses to things going back and forth will be tested during Mercury retrograde rather than holding things back. It is not about things being held back. It just means that our emotional response when the course is changed will be tested. So be careful of that. We are a water sign. It flows in positive energy with us. The Mercury retrograde will be in positive energy with us as well. So it works out to add knowledge to us rather than any other way. Then between 22nd to 25th of June, we have a mutable T-square formed with Venus. So this is love energy. This is ecstasy. This is bed pleasure. This is us focusing on getting more intimacy out of our partnerships, taking it a little bit beyond ordinary, trying some new things out, but at the same time, weeding out certain emotional patterns that are not serving you in your self-worth, in your net worth. It becomes a good time to look at certain investments that we might have done in the past, which were done on an emotional basis, and now we want to maybe correct a course because we see a different side coming through. We see a new inspiration on how to make money versus what we did earlier. So Venus rules both our finances as well as our emotional life. It rules our partnerships. It rules the pleasure we get out of our partnership, and it is in the area of our joint finances, the finances we get from others. So we see an alternative path either in a romance setting or in the area of our joint finances. You want to be careful if there's a new proposition, both financial or love, coming between 22nd to 25th of June, because it can be larger than life. It might be more than what we think we might imagine more than what's there. This is especially true if you have planets between 17 to 19 degree of Scorpio, which is around 10th to 12th of November born. You seem to be getting this Jupiter-Neptune impact quite solidly, the 10th to 12th of November born. So on 26th of June, we have Mercury move into your house of career, and on 1st of July, we'll have Mars move into your house of career. So while you're focusing on this adventure in the month of July, in my view, it will be all focused on a career progression that you're supposed to have. So the travel, the publication, the trade agreement, you working on foreign trade or foreign investment or writing something or getting into a new education or getting into a teaching job, all of that seems to be focused on you progressing to the next level in your career. These are tools that you are engaging in to get more public recognition for your talents. So you start working on that when Mercury and Mars, they both move from 26th of June to 1st of July. But this means that the work will become a little bit more stringent. It will feel more pressure. You'll feel more pressure coming from a career perspective or from the perspective of being visible in your career after 26th of June and 1st of July especially. 27th of June, we have a little bit of ego battle that you want to be careful about. This could happen in a personal setting, in an emotional setting, rather than a professional setting. And it could be financial in nature, joint finances coming under question, a will coming under question, a tax thing coming under question on 27th of June. This is especially true if you have planets around 22 or 23 degree of Scorpio, which is around 15th to 16th of November born. But on the same day, we have Sun and Chiron together. You have a gift of adventure. That's all I can say. You have a gift of adventure coming your way, gift of karma. These are the talents that you're launching that you were gifted with. This is not just what we worked in this lifetime. The path that you're supposed to walk and that is unfolding for you is not from what you thought you would be doing in this life. This is something that is coming from beyond you, because these are karmic houses. These are the things that we, if you believe in destiny, these are destiny. This is our destiny. This is our destiny that we did not maybe even plan to walk, but that is what is unfolding in front of us. And that requires you to get over a hurt from the past. Maybe in the past, there was certain amount of people not recognizing your talent. In the past, you wanted to do something in terms of servicing people, and that was not accepted in the right way, or it did not go in the right way, or it hurt your health, or it hurt your career in some way. That past hurt cannot be the judge of the future adventure you're taking. That is the lesson of 27, 28 Sun Chiron meeting that you want to be aware of. We have to heal ourselves so we can heal others in a positive fashion and move forward from this past hurt. Then on 2nd of July, we have the total solar eclipse, which is happening in your house of adventure. It's beautiful. It's a leap of faith. It's a gift of law of attraction of karma that is coming our way. It's a path that we never thought we would walk, but is unfolding in front of us. This is especially true if you have planets around 10 or 11 degree of Scorpio. It's in positive energy with us, so the opportunity flows easily to us. Especially true if you have planets around 11, 12 degree of Scorpio, which is a Scorpio sun around 3rd or 4th of November born. And Venus will also move there, so we attract this easily to us, this abundance easily to us. The eclipse is an easy eclipse, but it is a significant new start for you. Then on 16th of July, we have a partial lunar eclipse, which you'll start feeling from end of June as well. This is us shifting something in our immediate environment. Something in our immediate environment needs to be given up. Something in our thought process needs to be given up. There might be certain communication that needs to be worked on hard in detail, which could be a blueprint, as I said, of your commercial success. How do I make this commercially work? This adventure is great. This ambition is great. This vision is great. But how do I make this financially work? But again, as I mentioned earlier, keep an eye on the price. Few things on eclipses, which I'm telling you in advance. Expand your mind by embracing a new philosophy. We have to embrace a completely new philosophy going into this new phase of our life. It could be a foreign cultural belief that we are embracing. It could be a new family of like-minded different people with different education who we are embracing right now. The road to success for us is to bring out this softer side of us that Neptune is creating, this caring, this empathetic side of us who's ready to embrace a different kind of philosophy. There cannot be any repression in your mind, in your thoughts, any negativity that is stopping you. There is no need for us to get it exactly right. This is a higher vision. The details will come in time. No need to sort of hold every dot, every conversation back. You will get it. We don't need to control the whole dialogue here. We need to only follow our instincts here. We need to only read the right things. Be guard of your mind. Your mind is creating the reality. We are on a path of law of attraction. What you're thinking is getting created. So be on guard of your mind. Only read the right things that help you, that support you, that expand you. And we don't have to read only the utility items when this happens. We should be reading on things that expand our knowledge about different philosophies, about people who are different from you, about world events, and we'll get emotionally involved even in the world events when this happen. And intuition will be used to feel out the truth out of them. There's a meaning in being a mother. This emotional self-expression, this nurturing others is leading us to a different path, and that is the road to success for us. We will have a release of any small-minded things that are existing in our life with these eclipses. We cannot control who or what will leave when these eclipses happen, but the end goal is to open your mind to a different future that is unveiling in front of us. So good luck to all of us, Scorpio, and I'll see you in the eclipses video now. Thank you so much.